welcome to Beachcombers. This week we're doing something a little bit different. We figured you might be sick of looking at our faces, so we thought that Cleo, our leopard gecko, might be able to help you learn about global warming. So this is Cleo, our leopard gecko. She's about 5 years old, and she's here today to help you learn about climate change and global warming. Cleo loves 3 things. She loves mealworms, she loves us, and she loves her tank. And she's out of her tank today to teach you about climate change. So imagine Jillian and I were traveling through Europe, and we're walking through Berlin, maybe we're walking through a park in Berlin, Germany, and we see a leopard gecko. And of course we know what a leopard gecko is because we have Cleo at home. And we know when we adopted Cleo, we learned how to take care of her, so we learned that she is from the Middle East and India, so we know she likes a hot place. But suddenly we're seeing Cleo in a place that isn't so hot, like Germany. And people have been seeing things maybe not quite as extreme as wild leopard geckos in Europe. We're just making this up as an example, but people have been seeing weird animals appearing in places they shouldn't be because of climate change. We've seen this happening in a few different places. Many tropical and subtropical species are moving either north or south, looking for more temperate conditions or following their food source. But that's not the only place this is happening. We've seen some Arctic species moving south as the sea ice that is primarily their habitat is melting. So a good example of this is a striped dolphin that was found deceased in Haida Gwaii quite recently. Normally these dolphins prefer warmer waters, and so seeing one all the way up here was pretty unusual. We're not 100% sure why this animal was up here, but it is quite likely it was looking for cooler waters. So imagine that you were sitting in this hot tub where Cleo's tail is, excuse me, and you were thinking, wow, I am so warm. I'm just too warm right now. This is so hot. And so you think, look, there's a cold pool just a little ways away. Doesn't it make sense that you would go to the cold pool to cool down? Well, this is what a lot of these animals that live in warmer climates are doing. They're searching for cooler waters. Or if their food source is vulnerable to temperature change and their food source is finding cooler water, then they need to follow their food source. Cleo does this too. Reptiles are endothermic animals. This means that they can't regulate their own body temperature. They need to move to find hotter or colder places to warm up or cool down. Now, of course, this is not exactly what's happening with climate change. These animals' whole world is changing and they need to find a new place that matches their old world in temperature, but it's a similar idea of moving from places of hot to cold or vice versa, depending on what you need. You may have heard the phrase greenhouse gases. This diagram shows how that works. If you've seen a greenhouse that is made of glass like this, and you've gone inside, you'll see that it's a lot warmer inside than it was out. That is because the sun's rays come through the glass and the glass acts as a bit of an incubator. That happens on Earth too. The atmosphere acts as a bit of an incubator, and all of the sun's warmth comes in and then is going back out and rebounding off of the clouds in the atmosphere to come back into Earth and to keep it a lot warmer than it would have been beforehand. The extra heat comes from emissions of carbon dioxide and other similar gases that are staying within the Earth's atmosphere and continuing to insulate it, causing temperatures to go on an upward trend. So climate change impacts oceans, but what about the world's beach? So how does the climate change of Earth affect the beach? Well, in lots of ways. Obviously, the beach is dependent on many different factors. One of which, of course, is that the sea level isn't too high and leaves room for the beach. But climate change causes rising sea levels, which means the beach will slowly disappear. And this is due to oceans increasing in volume due to melting ice caps and glaciers. It also is included because these glaciers send water down rivers in increased amounts when they're melting more. How else does this change the beach? Well, coral damage from ocean acidification due to climate change, and warmer oceans, as we've talked about if we scooch Cleo's tail over there, which doesn't make the fish too happy. Increased storms can lead to damage to the actual beach itself. Like hurricanes can really do damage to beach. And there can be changes in the soil, which change which plants can grow, which changes how much soil and sand is going to be held on the shore, because plants' roots hold a lot of the ground that we use as the beach in place, or else it would just be eroded away.
What do you do to reduce climate change? You've all heard this phrase, reduce, reuse, recycle. It's a good one, you should follow it. Turn off the lights when you don't need them. Whenever you're leaving a room or just walk into a different one, if you don't need the lights, don't use them. Bring cloth bags so you don't need plastic ones. Plastic just doesn't break down, so whenever you can use a cloth alternative, that's the best way to go. Tell your friends and family about how they can help too. This spreads the word and spreads education, and education is always a good thing. Take shorter showers to conserve water. This is going to reduce the energy is used to reduce the carbon emissions. Eat more veggies and less red meat. Red meat is often heavily processed, and so eating veggies, especially local veggies, is just a better way to go. Ride your bike to school. This will, again, reduce the carbon emissions, and it's just a more green way to act.
Thanks for watching this very unique episode of Beachcombers. By working together, spreading awareness, embracing change, thinking critically, taking responsibility, and reducing our footprint, we can not only have many more great days at the beach, but Cleo, scooch! but help all the creatures who rely on the environment for survival. And that includes Cleo herself, that includes us, and all your favorite animals. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.